Okay, so we're going to go over 3 examples for multiplying polynomials, and they're going to go in increasing order of difficulty, sort of. So we'll start with the first one. We're multiplying 2 binomials, x plus 5 times x plus 3. What you want to do is multiply every term inside your left-hand parenthesis into every term in your right-hand parenthesis. So you want to multiply everything in your left to your right-hand parenthesis. You could go from right to left, but since we live in the English writing country, we want to approach things from left to right. So let's go ahead and do that. So first we're going to write down, you want to go ahead and write down your first term, x times x plus 3. And then plus 5 times x plus 3. Next step is to identify your, so when you're multiplying, you're going to multiply the numbers in front of your coefficient. And if it's the same letter you're multiplying, you're going to add your exponent. So that's really important. So it's important to identify invisible, numbers. So if it's just 1x, it has a coefficient of 1 and it has an invisible 1 in the exponent. So I like this to especially focus on the exponents so I remember to add them. So I'm going to just do the sub-step of doing x to the 1, x to the 1, x to the 1. And you're free to also put your 1 for your coefficient as well. So here we have x times x, that will be 1x times 1x. You can say 1 times 1, which is 1. And then x to the 1 times x to the 1, you want to add your exponent. 1 plus 1 is 2. So x times x will be x to the 1 plus 1, which is just x to the second power. So remember, you're adding the exponents, multiplying the coefficients, the numbers in the front, you're multiplying. The exponents you're adding. X times to x to the third power, that'll be plus, when you're x times 3, that'll give me 3x, so you say plus 3x. Next you're going to say 5 times x, so plus 5 times x. We're done with x, so now we're on 5. So you say 5 times x, that's a 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times x is 5, that's x. Next you want to go ahead and do 5 times 3, which would just be 15. Once you're done with distributing into everything on your right hand parentheses, you want to go ahead and rearrange your like terms beside each other. You want to identify your like terms and then rearrange. So first I'm going to put one line under everything with x squared. So that's the only thing with x squared. Then I want to identify everything with an x. I'm going to put 2 lines with everything with x. And then 15 is all by itself. So I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. Once you've underlined your like terms, you want to go ahead and rearrange them if you need to. Right now, all my like terms are beside each other, so I'm good. Then I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. So x squared, that comes down. 3x plus 5x, that will give me 3 plus 5. This step, all you're doing is adding the number in front. 3 plus 5, which is 8. And you can get x, 8x. And then number 5 is plus 15. So that's it. This is my final answer. Let's go to example 3. Go ahead and write down example 3. It's 3x plus 5 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Again, you want to take your first term, 3x, right? Write it out so that you know you're distributing it into x squared plus 4x plus 4 into every term on your right. So you're going to say 3x times x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then you want to take your second term and your first binomial, you say plus 5. And we're multiplying that into right-hand trinomial, x squared plus 4x plus 4. Once you've written it out with this first step, you want to go ahead and distribute. Well, go ahead and identify your invisible ones, right? So, especially the exponents. So we have 3. We're going to write 1 right there. That will be 3x to the 1. We have x squared plus 4x to the 1. We have 4x to the 1. Alright, Remember, you're multiplying the numbers in the front and adding your variable. So 3x times x squared. In front of x squared, we have our coefficient is 1. So you would say 3 times 1, that would be 3. And then x, you're just going to add, you're adding these coefficients, right? I mean, this exponent. You're going to say 1 plus 2, which is 3. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. Next, you would do, so I do this little arrow. Next, you would want to do 3x times 4x. You would say 3 times 4, that's 12. And you're going to write x. Remember to add your exponent. X to the 1 times x to the 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. And then our last one will be 3x times 4. 3x times 4, you would say 4 times 3. That will be 12. So 3x times 4 is 12. X. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead to your next term. So we have 5 times x squared. We're going to say 5 times x squared, that will be 5x squared. We'll say plus 5x squared. Next we have 5 times 4x. That 5 times 4 is 20, and then 1x. So it will be plus 20x. Next you're going to do 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 20. Once you distribute, you're going to go ahead and identify your like terms and then rearrange with your like terms. So steps 2 is to underline, use underlining to identify your like terms. So we have x cubed. We're going to do 1 underline for everything with x cubed. That's the only thing with x cubed. Then we're going to do 2 underlines for everything with x squared. We have 12x squared and 5x squared. Those are my 2 like terms. We're going to do 3 underlines for everything with an x. We have 12x and 20x. And then we have 20 by itself as the only constant. So we'll leave it by itself. So now I'm going to rearrange with all my like terms together. And make sure to take the sign in front. So I'm going to bring down this 3x cubed. And we have plus 12x. And we have plus 5x squared. 12x squared and 5x squared both have 2 half x squared. And then we have 12x and 20x. So and it's plus 12x plus 20x. And then we'll bring down this. Remember to bring down this plus 20. That's important. Alright, now let's go ahead and add our like terms together. We're going to go ahead and combine 12x squared plus 5. First, our last step is to rewrite it with our combined like terms. So we have 3x cubed plus 12x plus 5x squared will be plus 17x squared. 12x plus 20x, that will be plus 32x, and then I bring down my plus 20. Once I'm done, so now I'm done. Once I'm done, I want to make sure it's in standard form. That means from biggest exponent to smallest it is. So I'm done. This is my final answer. Let's go ahead and go to the third example. So here we have example 3, which is 2x minus x plus 1 times x plus 2. I want you to go ahead and try it out. We'll pause the video right here for a couple of seconds. Try it out and try to do the first 2 steps. Okay, welcome back. So my first step will be to distribute everything on my left into, to write it out where I can easily distribute everything on my left to everything on my right hand, for instance. So I'm going to take my first term, 2x, write it, and I want to distribute it to x plus 2. Next, I'm going to take my second term, minus x, and I want to write it times parentheses x plus 2. And last, I have my last term, plus 1. going to write that times x plus 2. Alright, that's step 1. Now let's go ahead and distribute. Step 1 is to write it like this, then go ahead and distribute it. So let's go ahead and remember, before you start distributing, identify those 1 exponents so you don't forget about it. So we have 2x to the 1, x to the 1, x1, x to the 1, x to the 1. Alright, 2x times x, that will be 2x to the second power. That'll give me 2x to the second. Remember, it's 1 plus 1, you're adding your 2 exponents. So you're adding your exponents, 1 plus 1. So it will be x to the second power. 2x times x, that's 2x to x squared. Then you want to do 2x times 2. 2x times 2 will be 2 times 2 is 4. And you just only have 1x. We're done there. Next, you want to go to the minus x. It's important to remember to take the minus with you. So when you multiply anything times a negative, you know it changes sign. So negative times positive is a negative now. Negative times negative, positive, right? So negative x times a positive x, that'll give me a negative. Negative times positive is negative. X to the 1 times x to the 1, that'll be x to the, add your exponent, 1 plus 1. We want to add our exponent with x to the 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I'm going to erase that there, just put a 2. So x times, minus x times x squared is x to the second power. Again, we're going to distribute this minus x. Remember to take the minus with it. That's a common mistake. Minus x times 2 will be negative times positive is negative. So negative x times 2, that will be negative 2x. Last, we have this plus 1 times x plus 2. Well, 1 times anything just keeps it the same. So this is pretty simple. We'll go ahead and distribute anyways. 1 times x is just x, so plus x. And 1 times 2, that will just be plus 2. Once you are done with this, if you got through this first 2 steps by yourself, excellent job. Next, you want to go ahead and identify your like terms. Step 2 is to rearrange, is to identify your like terms, rearrange them, and combine them. So rearrange and combine your like terms. So let's identify my like terms. X squared, I'm going to put one line under everything with an x squared. So I have 2x squared and I have this minus x squared. Go ahead and underline everything, all your like terms. Everything with an x, I'm going to put 2 lines under them. And then lastly, I have this constant too. I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 lines just to show that it's still different. So now we want to rearrange with our like terms together. So we're going to write 2x squared and have minus x squared. Bring that minus in front of it with it. Next, I have 4x minus 2x. So I'm going to write that. So plus 4x minus 2x. Plus x, right? 4x minus 2x and plus x, all of the like terms. And then lastly, I have this plus 2. Right? So let's go ahead and combine our like terms. So I'm just going to erase the. So yeah, 2x squared minus x squared, 2 minus 2 x squared minus x squared. 2 minus 1 is going to be 1, sorry, so that'll give me 1x squared. Remember, you're just focusing on the number in front now. Next, I have 4x minus 2x plus 1x. 4, there's an invisible one here, right? 4 minus 2 plus 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1, that's 3x. So it's just going to be 3x. So we have x squared plus 3x, and moving down by plus 2. Last step is to make sure that your solution is in standard form. Put it in standard form if it's not. We're already in standard form, so we're good. So my solution, I'm going going to put a little box around my answer is x squared plus 3x plus 2. Go ahead and copy the steps down.